Hey, what is up guys? So welcome to my new Heroes of the Storm tier list. Now that we have more heroes, we gotta redo the tier list. Things have been reworked, things have gotten nerfed, things have gotten buffed. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now first off, I do want to say that I think that there are more than one viable builds for certain heroes, but I'm going to be mostly talking about what is used in the Hero League. I'm rank 1, so that means I'm running everything you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, most of the time when people play certain heroes, I will say like, no, that hero is really bad. But like you said, there are more viable builds. There are things that we don't know about this game yet, because it is a fairly new game. Anyways, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and click quick match so I can show you guys all the heroes and start off with my tier list. So, first off, for tier 1, I consider these like the best of the game. Basically, everything I'm talking about in tier 1, I think needs a nerf. First off, I feel like Zagara has been so good. That Hydra, I think that it needs to be nerfed. It should not move as fast as it does, because it just like forces you to go back under fountain. Like, you can't fight her. It's just absolutely ridiculous. She's got a great ult too, but I feel like the Hydra just really needs to be nerfed on her. And she has amazing shove. She can out shove a Sylv, and that to me, that's pretty crazy. Or maybe make it so Sylv can disable the things that she summons, although that can hurt other builds that other players run into, like the Nubrax Beetles or something like that. Or Nubrax is basically nerfed anyways. But Zagara, I feel like, needs a nerf. She's really, really good. Next up, Zeratul. This one's a little bit harder to play because I feel like if you don't have coordination, like you don't have everyone on Skype or some type of software so you can use a microphone communication, if you ult, sometimes other people will ult and then like you'll screw over their ult. Like, there's a lot of problems. So I feel like he's really, really either skilled or you need communication with him. But I think his ult is still really broken because it's an amazing, amazing ult. But the thing that I find him to be too OP at is his blink needs to cost more or have a larger cooldown, because it's just too good. Like, no one else has like an escape as good as Zeratul, and he already has his passive. But nonetheless, that's why I feel like he's too good. Next up, Muradin. He's a tank that has stun, that has damage, that has reduced attack speed. He's really good, and he has a fantastic ult. I think he's high tier, definitely. I don't know what I would nerf with him. Maybe something to do with mana cost, although he does already have like mana problems. Like, you can't spam everything. In his ultimate form, he does stun. I feel like that might be a little bit too OP. Maybe like on every 5 instead of 3 attacks. It would just keep him down just a notch, because like a lot of other tanks got wrecked. Other than like Johanna. Like, Johanna is just, it's another one. But yeah, I feel like he's really, 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 really good. He's definitely tier 1. Next up, this is the one that I really just want to go away. I don't like dealing with this Kael'thas guy. He does way too much damage, and then the living bomb, and then like, it's just, I think his damage needs to be nerfed a lot. Like, I can't stand this guy, and like, I know he doesn't have an escape, but and his ults, like, the cooldowns are way too short. I feel like he's picked in over 100% of games, and that is usually done because in quick match you can have, you know, multiple people playing it. But he has over 100% pick rate. That's obviously a sign that he's really good, and he's used in every sense in the competitive scene of the game. Next up, one of the newer heroes, I don't actually own him, Leoric. I find his passive to be just too good. He does really good as far as quick match goes, and ranked, people try to ignore him, but his thing where he's just like, oh, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to absorb your health. Blade of the Ruin King as a skill, basically, although you lose the movement speed. It's just like the ceiling health is just way, way, way strong, and then he just comes back. It's really good, especially early on for certain maps for the objectives, like the Infernal Shrines. That one with him is just like, he walks in, dies, doesn't matter, he comes back up in 5 seconds. It's like, I feel like early game they need to try to balance that out a little bit more. Like, maybe he has to go back to the fountain or something, or like he has to go back all the way back, because it's just too OP for that map specifically. Next up, Uther. I feel like Uther's the best healer in the game. There's no one that compares to him. Either nerf Uther or buff everyone else. That's what I think needs to happen, is buff the rest of the healers. Uther's just way too good compared to everyone else. Mouth, like, the root is just too hard to land when you go into competitive. Like, most people will understand, you just walk around. Like, I know you get the upgrade with it, but for the most part, I think Uther outclasses all the healers, and he has a really, really good trait or talent at level 4, basic attack restore mana. It's like no mana problems at all for Uther, and I love him for team fights. He's fantastic. But yeah, I just feel like he just outclasses all the healers, and that's why I put him in the tier 1. Next up, Johanna. Okay, Johanna on the freaking Infernal Striders. It's a new map, so I understand that like there's not enough testing, but they have the PTR, right? Johanna has a very, very high pick rate as well in the game, but for Infernal Shrines, it's just like, oh, I hit W and then all of them go to me. It's so unfair. It really is, and I think that that's what needs to be nerfed. And in addition to her W being able to knock everyone out of their ults, like, a lot of people's ults get cancelled by Johanna's. I know it's because it's a stun, but I feel like specifically it should say, like, it's except for other ultimates or something like that, because, so many people's ults get cancelled by her, and then she has Unstoppable. It's like someone could be using their stun on her, and she's like, I'm unstoppable, and now I stun you. Like, if ETC goes in, she could just be like, oh, I'm unstoppable, okay, I hit W, oh, you're out of your ult, and I still have my ult. Her ults aren't the greatest, though, I will have to admit. But the thing is, her W outclasses like her ult. Like, it's too good, especially on Infernal Shrines. If you've played it, you'll understand. Next up, Nizu. This guy actually has a really high pick rate right now. I'm not sure... Well, they did buff his ult. I feel like his ult needs to slightly be nerfed. But I also feel like the jumping spiders, like, if you go into the brush, like, oh my gosh, like, they just jump on you for days. I just want the jumping spiders. Just remove that, please. Like... I hate the jumping spiders. But I don't know what I would nerf on him, but he's definitely like tier 1. Definitely. Without a doubt. He does so much damage. He has so much sustain technically late game. Because his passive, or not his passive, the first trait that you get on him, which is the Death Ritual, permanently gain, like a lot of people, they gain mana or health, or they have globes, or like mana globes. He's like, no, bro, I just get both, basically. I know it's not globes, but it's the same concept. You late game, you get better. I feel like that, it needs to be one or the other. Like, make one of them mana, one of them health. You choose one. No, Nizubu gets both. That's a little too good. And he does good damage. And his ult got changed. The one where, he's able to, control, I forgot what it's actually, I can go to Billy's and show you. It's the Ravenous Spirit. This thing is so much better than it was. Like, before it was like Gargantuan or nothing. Like, now this is super viable. I feel like, I don't know, maybe change the duration on it. I just feel like he's too good. Like, he's definitely tier 1. And, like, I consider that if something's so tier 1, that it needs a nerf. I think his is a small change. Like, I don't know, maybe just remove jumping spiders and I'll be happy. Because I just hate how he can't mount up, because I'm pretty much like a Nova main, and I still play Nova even as rank 1. Like, I still think Nova's viable. I'll get to that later. But those are the heroes that I think are tier 1. In tier 2, I consider Sylvanas. She just basically power creep happened in the game. Another great hero, or that got nerfed, or power creep essentially happened. Brightwing, I feel like Brightwing is relatively high value still. A lot of people will be like, nah, Brightwing not good. I still think Brightwing is viable. You just have to have people that aren't dinguses and know that you could do a lot of cheese with Brightwing. You could do what's called the 3-1-1 or 1-3-1. Basically, you have more people in the lane with Brightwing and you have them rotate and take damage because Brightwing's passive basically just heals. And you can use Brightwing. I think Brightwing is still viable. You just have to have more coordination, and your team has to be like on point. And they're not going to be trying to engage on fights. Basically, Brightwing supports like a Vala, Raynor, playstyle where it's just like it's literally just poke and push forever. You just actually don't want to try to fight unless Vala gets the stun ult, which if it lands successfully, you can win team fights basically just from her. Other like decent healer that I would consider in the tier 2 is Malfurion. Where's that guy? This guy over here. I consider him in like the tier 2. He just gets outclassed by Uther. But he's still pretty good for a healer. It's just Uther you can usually get wrecked. In competitive you have banned. Well, in the hero match you don't have it right now. But in like real tournaments they usually have like a ban phase. But he usually is like there. Uther usually gets wrecked, but he's still a decent hero, and I consider him like high value just because like there's not that many other good healers in the game. Next up, Kerrigan. I find Kerrigan to be really good. The only problem is like you have to land your stuff wherever Kerrigan is, or it's the Queen of Swarms. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I feel like she's really good. You just have to land your stuff, so she's like really skill based, but she's really cool, and I just feel like. There are other better heroes that don't have like skill, because hers is solely skill shot. Like if you mess up, you ain't winning. Next up, I find Abathur to be really good. I think he's pretty good on certain maps, specifically on the Pirates Bay, Blackheart's Bay. He's pretty good on that map, just because like mines are pretty good. There's a lot of cheese build with like Abathur, Illidan, pretty good comp. I love doing that kind of stuff. Another hero that I think is like, I almost want to put him under like the tier 3, but I consider Butcher still pretty good. He has relatively good sustain. If he's in a 1v1 scenario, I feel like Butcher poops on most heroes in this game. But next up, I have Vala for tier 2. Vala, she takes a lot of skill, because if you don't land specifically your ult and you get the ult that stuns, you will cost your team the fight. But like, you can also make the team win. So I consider a really good, very, very high skill cap. An easy hero that's, where is it? First Falstead. Falstead is another like pretty good hero, I would say. Just because he can, I think it's his W, where it's just like, oh, I hit it, and as long as you're in the circle, you take damage. He can outplay other heroes by simply just using that. Very, very easy to use that skill. Like his ult, you can dodge. That's like why I consider him not in like tier 1. But like his W is too good, man. I hate this thing so much, especially when you're in Illidan and you have to lane against him. He's just like, oh, what are you gonna do? You can't dodge it. It's like, it's annoying. Next up, I find Kariz. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce his name. The monk. Karizm. I think he's pretty good. He can actually, like, I underestimated this guy. I was like, I ain't even good. I tried to wreck him as Kael'thas, and I got real salty because I full bursted him as Kael'thas. We were like 2 levels ahead, and he was able just to heal through it. He didn't dodge anything. He didn't get the ult. He didn't even pop his ult, and he wrecked me. And I was like, are you serious? Well, I used everything, and then I used Gravity Lapse, and then while he was floating there, I threw up my Pyroblast, and I didn't know what this hero did. It was basically when the guy first came out. Like he's the most recent hero, but I think he's actually pretty viable. Next up, I find Tychus to be pretty good. I would consider Tychus. Oh, that's not Tychus. That's Tychus. I consider him pretty good. I think he's better than Raynor because he can actually like do damage real quick, and then he's good to go. And I like his laser ult a lot. The reason why, like, I know the mech ult is much more competitive, but I don't like how there's a startup time. So like, I feel like if you're going to go in your ult, sometimes everyone will back off, and you can't just like be like, oh, I'll cancel real quick. I know you have a dash in it, but for the most part, I think that in quick match, you're going to have a much better time with the laser. If you're in 5s, then yeah, of course, the mech is going to be better. But that's like my only concern with Tychus. But he's good. He's definitely very good. Next up, Illidan. I love Illidan. Illidan's like one of my favorite heroes to play. I wish there was like a female skin, like a female Night Elf Illidan, because like I like Katarina. I like the idea of just going and get kills, like just going super ham. But Illidan, he's not as good as he used to be. That's why I'm not putting him in tier 1. But yeah, a lot of the stuff that I mentioned from like my last video, it got addressed. Nubrak nerfed, Illidan nerfed. Those were 2 heroes that I really loved. But they were unfair. So I will definitely admit that. I mean, my most played hero is still Nubrak for rank. I still play him. Anyways, I consider a Nubrak here in the tier 2. He just got nerfed too hard. Like the beetle damage, like everything with the beetles, and like the beetles that you spawn. And on top of that, his ult, specifically the ult, got ruined. But it's definitely more balanced. But I miss him. Anyways, another hero that I feel like I almost want to put this in tier 3, the Lost Vikings, because they got nerfed as well. I think I mentioned this before. They're pretty decent now, but they don't really see any play. I haven't seen anyone play these in a long time. Maybe I'll try to pick them up and try them out, because I do have enough gold to get another hero. Another great hero is Jaina. It's just like really solid. No explanation for that. They did remove her sprint, so I feel like Kael'thas is just like so much better, because Kael'thas is way more damage. She can technically get out easier, but like the sprint is what made like Jaina so good. Like going to fight, dodge everything. I just love it for that. Not even just, you know, use it as escape, like using it for team fights, just so good, but it's gone. So now pretty much most people get an ice block and stuff like that. Next up, Rhaegar. Rhaegar over here, a great healer. I would say he's relatively friendly for like beginners, because like with Uther, he's more of a skill champion. Like you gotta heal and damage your enemy. Rhaegar's like, nah man, chain heal. Like I'd almost consider him on the high tier section, like tier 1. But I just like Uther because like when I play Rhaegar, I run out of mana, and his slow doesn't compare with like Toran or Uther's stun. Like it's just a CC is way the stun CC is way better than like, oh, I'll make you slow down for a bit. Like I don't really like that. Anyways, next up for tier 3, these are what I consider like okay heroes. I don't consider them very strong, but like if in the right hands, maybe they can be viable. Anyways, Toran, I think some players can play her. I tried some in quick command. I'm successful with her. In ranked, I can't. Like the thing is, people will actually dodge your stun. I know you can get the increased range. You can change CC with other people's CC. Very, very great stuff over here. Next up, Tyrael. Tyrael, where is he? Tyrael over here. I consider him he's not as great as anyone. He doesn't do enough damage. His ult gets canceled. It doesn't have priority over everything. That's the main reason. You always get the ult where it's like, you rush and you dash, you stun the target. But the problem I have with it is, like I said, it gets interrupted by everything. A lot of things just cancel his ult. And maybe I think that would fix him a little bit if they change that. Next up, Chen. I've seen some pretty good Chens, but 99% of them are bad. Maybe you are the 1% in the Chen category. Nova, I would consider her, like, I would almost consider her bad, like tier 4. Everyone considers Nova bad in competitive scene, and I would basically consider her bad in the competitive scene, but there is some exception to this list, because I feel like if you are good, I made Nova, I win games with Nova, I carry people with Nova. You have to be so good at the game, and kind of lucky in one sense the team doesn't see you, so it's not necessarily that you rely on that team being bad, it's just that you have to be so good that, like, you could do way more damage as Kael'thas. If you just want to do damage, you can have a much better time as other heroes. But she has very, very, very amazing utility if you can hit the 20. I feel like Rewind with the freaking clones is just like, you pop everyone. And then on top of that, you still have your ult and you still can have Envenom. It's absolutely ridiculous what you can do, especially if you're ahead of the game Nova. When you're behind, it's literally you hit 20 or the team will complain. It happens all the time. People will complain about Novas all the time in ranked. Once you get high ranked up there, it's just like, oh man, don't pick Nova, and I'm just like, don't worry about it, I got this. So I feel like she's really good and really bad at the same time, simply because it requires you to have a lot of map awareness. You have to know which targets you can hit, so I don't recommend her for beginners at all, because you have to know what to hit, and you need to know when to go in, and you have to go very deep as her. I don't play safe with her at all. If you play safe with her, I know that there's players that do that, but I don't feel like that's playing Nova correctly. I think she has to get a kill before the team fight, because in the team fight, someone can just body block one of your skills and then that person's fine, or they just use one ability. You have to 100 to 0 someone without them even paying attention to the map. Like, they have to be pathing to somewhere. I could make a video talking about Nova. Let's just save that video for another time for sure. But yeah, I love Nova. She's one of my mains. Next up, Raynor, I consider Tychus just better. Like, he's so boring to play. I know he has an okay ult, but I just feel like he's outclassed by everything. Like, he doesn't have enough skill. Like, he has Q. That's like his skill. Like, and then the rest of the stuff is just like, oh, I just push his buttons and things happen. Like, I don't like him. I don't think he has enough utility. He doesn't add enough, like, damage. It's not, like, fast enough damage. I guess you can consider the Banshee's pretty good, but there's way better heroes than him. I think he's just outclassed by everything. Another hero I consider, like, whatever. This is like my mess section. Lily, not, like, her ult's much better now, but I still think that it's outclassed by Malfurion. She doesn't have any CC. She can't target who she wants to heal. I know it heals the lowest one, but sometimes you don't want to heal the person in the back. You want to heal the tank or something like that. Like, there's a lot of problems. I know you can try to get in range, but there's too many problems that I have with Lily, and I just don't think she's that great. Her ult can still be cancelled, but it's not as easy to be cancelled before. Like, you used to be able to sylve that thing, and you can't anymore, which makes me sad. Next up, Sergeant Hammer. I feel like some maps, and some people are good with Sergeant Hammer. Most people are just dinguses. They set up. You're asking to get killed. Like, if people pick Sergeant Hammer, I'm always like, alright, I go Nova, I go Kerrigan. If she's on free weekend, I'm doing quick match, because I feel like Kerrigan is just too difficult to play competitive. Kerrigan's great against terrible players or the tank, especially if you get the bat skin too. I don't know. Is it this one? I don't know. One of them you can turn into a little bat, and I feel like sometimes people just can't see it. Like, it's kind of OP. Disable that skin for rank and competitive, but seriously, like, you go against the tank, you can wreck the tank so hard because she loses mobility to be like viable. But yeah, I just think she's outclassed by a lot of other people. If you really want like a push there, Zagara outclasses all day, and on top of that, you have vision with Zagara. Zagara adds a lot of utility. Next up, ETC, I feel like he just got if Johanna didn't exist, I'd play ETC still. But the problem is Johanna, like, ETC is defined by his ult, and Johanna's like W. And immune, unstoppable. Like, he just got outclassed because of her. Next up, Arthas. He got some good stun. He has a decent amount of damage, but I think he's just Johanna is way better, and Skeleton King's better, and he's what is considered melee war. Skeleton King's better. I don't really like Arthas' ults too. I feel like they're really not as good as other people's. Next up, I have Azmodan here. Azmodan, like I said, Zagara outpushes him, and he's not that well. I mean, his laser pretty much super skill, right? You just hit W or what is it, E? I don't know. Whatever his laser is, that thing is just too strong. But like people just walk out of it, you jump out of it, you stun him, and then he's like, "Oh crap, man! I already summoned my minions. Okay, my Q takes half an hour to charge up, so I'm out." Like I don't really like him. Maybe I'll level him up to 5 so I can get 500 gold, but I don't really like him. Next up, I got Tassadar under this as well. He's just not even good. His little like thing that reveals it just takes too long now. Nerf confirm. What is it? Does it tell me the cooldown on it? I think it might. Oracle, here it is. Cooldown 40 seconds. Wow, wrecked vision. Like, but it's not that great anymore. I don't remember what the cooldown was before, but it was so much better before. That's all I remember. Next up, what do we got here for Murky? I don't really think Murky's that great, but he can solo push, kind of good. I don't think he's very great and competitive, to my knowledge. There are very few people that play him. He has a very, very low pick rate in competitive, and the Hero League. But in like the quick match, he gets picked once in a while. I just don't think he's that great. I feel like he becomes greater and greater the later the game becomes, simply because like he can die and it doesn't matter as much. Obviously, if you're ahead Murky, it's really nice. Next up, Thrall. I consider Thrall like almost needs a buff, but I've seen some pretty good Thralls, so there's kind of an exception to that. Same thing with Sonya. Like I don't consider these like terror bad. Like oh my gosh, these need a buff. Otherwise, I wouldn't even touch them. But Tassadar does. The only reason why I don't put Tassadar in this category of like they're really bad, like the tier 4, like I wouldn't even bother playing them. They need a buff. Is simply because his ult still does damage. Like he's a support, and his ult can do some stuff in team fights. Now things that I feel like need a buff in this game. I feel like the heroes that need a buff, Diablo. Like they just gave everyone Diablo for free if you played. I think if you have Reaper of Souls or maybe just Diablo, you get Diablo for free. And I feel like he needs a huge buff. Like, please buff Diablo. I know he got nerfed, but they need to like do something about it. Like the power, he's not a great tank. He can't do damage. He's only viable as a split pusher. Like I'm not even kidding. I was doing split push Diablo, and it's better than like anything that you have because like your abilities reduce your DPS. Like it's so bad. Just Diablo needs a huge buff. Like it really does. I also consider Stitches pretty bad because pulling like. Kills don't matter in this game, and like by the time it gets to super late game, like he has more value to the team the later the game goes because he can go for the pulls. But the problem that I have with this is early game, like he gets pooped on because like if you get a kill, it doesn't matter as much as like a Blitzcrank pull in League of Legends, or like the kills don't matter as much early on in the game unless it's for the objective and you're getting the Punisher on the Infernal Shrines. But I feel like he needs a buff, or maybe if he specifically kills someone within the first like 2-3 minutes of the game, like their death timer is doubled, like it's 10 seconds instead of 5. Like I feel like that's what he needs, like because that's what he's good for. He's good to get kills, and he can eat people too, I guess. But for the most part, I think he's better the later the game goes because kills matter much more the later the game goes. I also consider Gazal pretty bad, but I talk about how Gazal, you can outplay him by literally just saying, okay, I'm out later. You can have, like, Zagara will poop on him all day. He just gets outclassed, and, like, he's just, I know his ult's pretty good. He's a pretty undervalued character, I think is what a lot of people would say, but he doesn't see too much playing competitive just because, like, you can dodge everything he has. It's super obvious when he does stuff. He's like, it's like I throw down my turrets and then I'm gonna throw. Like you can outplay him by just being good at the game. And like there's other characters where like Kel'Thas DWW. Oh, she goes half your health, man. He's just outclassed. And usually people that are like halfway decent, they can kind of understand. You just kind of ignore his turrets and you'll be good to go. And he won't really do too much to your lane. But yeah, like if people are really bad, Gazal can be good because he's just like some people just don't know how to answer him, especially against a melee. Like Gazal will just completely dump on them if they're bad. But anyways, this is like for competitive. Anyways, this is a tier list. And yeah, we pretty much we covered everyone. Just double checking if there's anyone else that I missed right here because I got a list that my buddy CC made. Shout out to Cerusse Master. He's been playing rank with me. We both got rank 1, and he's rank 3 right now or 2. we'll definitely get him up there. But he basically made the tier list, and our tier list is like literally like 2 or 3 characters different. He doesn't value the Butcher as much as I do, but I think that's like our only thing that. Oh, he doesn't value Sonya either. I think Sonya can be like tier 2, but you have to be good enough with her. I've seen really great Sonyas that can solo bosses really early on in the game, but he doesn't like Sonya. But yeah, basically this is our tier list, I would say, because we basically have the same tier list. But anyways, guys, those are the heroes. That is the Heroes of the Storm tier list for the updated whatever today is, because we did get, I think we got like 3 heroes. We got Kerrigan, Skeleton King, and I think what else we got? The Butcher since the last video of the tier list. But I'll update these. If you guys want to know what is the best hero for 2,000 gold, because I know that question was asked a lot. The best hero for 2,000 gold right now on my tier 1 list is going to be Uther. I'm sorry, wait, I think Uther's 7,000. Murden. Okay, sorry, they look the same. Wow, man, racist against them. What are they? I think they're not. I was supposed to say Yordles. Anyways, yeah, Murden is the best 2K gold hero that I can think of. The rest, they're just not on the tier 1. I know Zagar is not 2K. Zeratil's not 2K. Kalthas not 2K. Yeah, the best hero if you want like tier 1 status is going to have to be Murden for this tier list. But anyways, hope that helps you guys out. Enjoy this information. Use it to your advantage. Or if you think I'm wrong on anything, I would love to, I would love to hear what you have to say in the comment section below, man. Too tired. Playing too much of that Metal Gear Solid. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. And like I said, let me know what you thought of the list. If you disagree, let me know why, too. Be like, yo, you undervalued Lily. Like, no, just don't know on that one, alright? You undervalued Gaz, little man. The troll. But anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great day. It's been your boy Will Smith, signing out.